Thank you all. Appreciate it. Brent, you're the finance guru on this thing, so I want to focus on you. Congratulations.
Sure.
Let's talk about grants versus ongoing costs. So we're discussing multiple facets of school safety. You have the hardware side, and then you have the personnel side. Kind of like the main line item in our budgets, the school safety initiative, it is a grant. So I know within most school budgets, you necessarily don't count on grants every single year. Ready to Learn block grants, you kind of build it in, but it's as a grant, you don't necessarily guarantee that money in and out. So when we're looking at hardware costs versus personnel costs, I would assume your preference for hardware would be under grants because that is a one-time initiative moving forward. Personnel, you want something more dedicated long-term, correct?
Correct. And I mean, I can't elaborate anymore. It's spot on. So the grant money, it's always that fear that it would not be funded year 2 or 3 or 4, or would be reduced from year 1 to 2 to 3. So grant money would buy the hardware, outfit everything and supplies, and then if there is additional funding that could be permanent or additional basic ed funding that would help fund the long-term cost, the personnel cost, yes.
Yeah, maybe if we had a 2-year budget cycle like we used to, we could have more consistency within budgeting, but year to year it's tough. So when we're looking at other aspect, I want to go over PlanCon. Obviously, there's a moratorium. To be honest, there's probably going to be another moratorium coming in. Good or bad, it's just a reality of where we're at on that. To date, with Act 25, 2016, which provided bonding to reimburse school districts for that. Obviously, there was no way under the current program we were going to catch school districts up in the next 30 years with PlanCon dollars that were promised to reimburse. To date, there was in 16-17 $567 million paid out. Last year, $255 million. So to date, that's $822 million were reimbursed back to school districts. Projected $148 million estimated this year. I don't see Matt Stem in the room. Is anybody else from PDE still here? Oh, hey. Could you get us an update what projects are left in that and where they're at in the system when you get a chance? It would be nice to know where we stand on that. So roughly $1 billion at the end of this fiscal year will be paid back and reimbursed to school districts. That current bond allocation is approved up to $1.5 billion to be issued by June 30th, 2025. According to the governor's budget book, there's still at $168 million balance left in there. I'm not a big fan of bonding, but we're talking about school security and infrastructure improvements, which are going to last the next 30 years. Bonding is normally an appropriate use of infrastructure payments. Based on this deals with school construction, you could probably do a lot of good with $168 million for school construction moving forward in a bulk lump sum, correct?
Correct, and that would be PASBO's stance to obviously have that dedicated funding put towards the school, construction renovation process. That would go to a lot of good use.
Okay, and then as far as the hardware metal detectors, the thought process I've always had is the state can do a larger purchase at a cheaper cost than individual school districts. Now, not every school district would want, say, metal detectors or other hardware, but would it be better for the state through the school safety to do a bulk purchase order for those things to lower the overall school cost for school districts and then have the school districts buy in when they want them or we send them out? Would that be a better way to do it, less cost?
Anytime to leverage economies of scale to save some money for our taxpayers would be great. And so it would be interesting to see how that exactly would work if you would, the state would order 10,000 of them, and if August we called up and said, well, I need 6 or 8 of those. It'd be interesting to make that work, but sure, why couldn't we look at all options, again, to save taxpayer dollars? That's where we're always looking to be most efficient. So that would be, I would love to entertain that opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.